Normally what I do, I'm gonna move this a little bit closer. Here, you want to scoot over?
Oh,
Get cozy. Fill the frame so we can see. There we go. Yeah. Oh, you got to reach out.
Yeah, there you go.
You're making yours looks way better than mine for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm wearing a large. I need a medium. That's all. That's how you make yourself look that buff, right?
It's just medium. Yeah.
You just wear a medium and then I don't think
pretty
it has
much
the same effect on me. So guys, we are here with Eric Lee. Now,
How's it
Eric,
going?
you don't have any reptile like Eric Lee exotics?
No, I need to start something, but
He's so famous, he doesn't need any of the marketing name. Everyone just knows Eric Lee.
pretty much, I guess.
And I know that this is like a theme that I hammer on all the time, but when people get into specific projects that lean more towards like selective breeding and like have a vision for the future of what they think is cool and then chase it down even though it might take years and investments up front and all that kind of stuff, those are the projects that I enjoy the most and I like to buy into because you can see kind of the sweat equity that somebody has in it.
It takes way more effort and dedication, and it's not money driven because 2-3 generations you get just the ingredients for it.
Absolutely. So Eric is definitely one of those people, and we have similar interests in the Super Dwarf stuff, right?
Super Dwarf's probably kind of what brought us together.
Yeah, and we've been talking online for a little while. I was definitely admiring some of the stuff that you were producing. I always say for me, I think part of why I like Super Dwarfs is that I feel, a little bit more confident about myself as a man, being around the Super Dwarfs versus all the big pythons.
Super Dwarfs are cool because they're totally different than the mainland stuff, so I think that spin on it where you have the colors and patterns, but a whole different mentality and attitude with the Super Dwarfs compared to mainlands makes it a lot more interesting.
They come from such a unique environment and stuff. They're just like
for sure
scrappy little survivors. It's kind of the way I see them.
And they do, they're just way more active than the mainlands.
I was really excited to do this interview with Eric because for probably my first guest, I don't look super short. So I was like, cool, I get to be like the tall big guy. And then you show up and he's wearing this medium shirt and this guy's like freaking yoked. So talk about athletic stuff. You're like super into all the athletics and everything like that, just personally too.
Yeah, just pretty much mainly ultra marathons, 24-hour endurance races.
For those of us that don't know, what's an ultra marathon?
Ultra marathons are anything longer than a normal marathon, which is 26.2. So anything from 30 miles to nowadays is 240 miles for the super ultras, which are I'm not doing 200 some miles
but you've done 100 miles.
Not yet. I'll be doing my first 100 mile this October.
So. This October,
if I'm in shape for it, but even if I'm not in shape, I'll still try it. I have 30 hours, so there's 30 hours. That's grind it out.
Well, if you're doing those kind of marathons, I think the 2-3 generation thing it takes to selectively breed Super Dwarfs is nothing.
The patience is already built in, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. And guys, just so you know, this is coming from, what I would consider one of the premier Super Dwarf breeders of today, right now, definitely. Well,
I try. I got back into it in 2012. I took an 8-year break when I was active duty. And back then it was all mainlands, all wild caught, all mean.
Yeah.
So doing the SD stuff is a nice change, and it's more attainable for most people because let's face it, not too many people want 15+ foot snake and dealing with the feed, housing, safety concerns with handling aspects. A Super Dwarf, even a 10-foot snake for a Super Dwarf is gonna be way thinner than a 10-foot boa, so it's way more attainable for the everyday person that wants the colors and patterns without the size.
You're like, what are you geeking out about these days with the Super Dwarfs and everything like that? What are some of the things that you're excited that you're doing and that you have coming?
Biggest thing, I'm real heavy on the SD snow stuff, but no, pretty much my big thing is I want to shrink them down, and not only that, I want that pattern influence from the SD to show up in the animals that we all know them for.
Sleek sexiness that they have.
It's not necessarily about stacking a ton of genes, it's stacking the right genes and outcrossing everything. My biggest thing is doing a lot of recessive genes now, just because there's more stability and longevity in it.
What separates you, because if you're talking about Super Dwarf and recessive genes, you just added 2 generations to the conversation.
You got to factor everything in and not rush into it, especially with the SD stuff, because let's face it, me and Garrett and maybe a select few are the ones that have focusing on legitimate high percent SD stuff, whereas other people might say, oh, I got this unknown SD animal, does it look SD? I mean,
we were just talking about that the other day. Someone that bought a 87.5% Super Dwarf Golden Child that was, you know, perfect condition, and it turns out it was a second and third hand transaction. It was a blind snake that he got at a pet store that it was 25% Super Dwarf, but that's not generally enough without really careful selective breeding. 25% Super Dwarf might make your animal look a little bit different, and
that's about
it. So
knowing the history and the lineage and all that is a huge factor if you're getting into SDs, because if you end up selling down the road, that's what your buyers will want to know. So if you can't provide that, you're already kind of behind the ball. You have a high percent SD, people just look at the numbers and not really realize that's 3, 4, 5 generations to make that 87.5% SD, whatever.
6 generations if it's recessive.
And that's 6 generations of God knows how many years, depending on if you hit early every single time. So
and the other aspect of that, guys, is just obviously there are certain people who are passionate about what it is that they're doing. And by buying directly from those people, you know, people like Eric, you get to build on, you support him in doing it, you increase his level of passion to continue on. That stuff's not going to be there if, you know what I mean, if there's no incentive, you know, even if it's just emotional incentive to continue producing those kinds of things. The more people that get excited about this stuff, which I think we're seeing now, it makes it more and more exciting, isn't it? You get newbies coming in and
get the new people
and
thinking of new projects that I might not be doing, that Garrett's not doing, that they want to plug into the SD thing.
Absolutely.
Everything snowballs. So if you don't have that initial push and that, you know, that excitement about it, then it's pretty much gonna be dead in the water. But as you get more people into it, they might start working with other morphs that, you know, I don't have or Garrett doesn't have, which would be good. So
well, it's just like when you did produce that first Snow Golden Child, I was like, nah, that's not gonna be good. I don't like that, you know, combo. But obviously it's never been made, so it's just whatever I'm imagining. And then when you hatched it, here's the other thing. In pictures, I actually told, to be completely honest, I was like, oh geez, it turned out really ugly. But it was like 2 sheds later, and he got some nice pictures of it outside and stuff. I was like, oh wow, that is exquisite.
Yeah, it's cool, but I was like, I really like purple GCs instead. But after it started shedding a couple times and color came in, yeah, it was night and day.
And that in the snows, for me, it's that translucence. Like albinos, I don't know how to explain this. And if you see it in a picture or a video or something, albinos are gorgeous. They have bright, brilliant colors, but they're like flat. They're almost like 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
Snows and aneries, and this is probably one of my favorite things about aneries, that people don't realize they have like depth. It's almost like the light that hits an anery goes through their skin and reflects off the back of it rather than bouncing off the front and giving you that flat. I mean, I don't know if that even makes any sense, but if you could have like magically any morph in 50% Super Dwarf today, what would it be? If I was like, ta-da!
I'd go for a 50% SD and Mocha.
No, that's a combo.
Okay.
One morph, come on. You can't
morph.
skip ahead 2 generations theoretically. One is magic generation is enough.
I'd probably do a 50% SD Mocha, I think.
Yeah, okay. You probably get there pretty quick with that anyways.
But so we'll see.
I like it. That's not bad. I don't know what I would pick. I mean, Hypo is cool because it's new. That would be a fun one.
Hypo would be cool. I think Rainbow would be cool.
Oh yeah, Rainbow would. Actually, that pattern would probably look crazy if you really defined it into that Kalatoa look. Because it's chaos. For those of you guys that haven't seen the Rainbow Retic, it's a really fun one. You have to check it out. You know that platinum Motley, the low percentage SD boy that you have?
Yep.
You know how his Motley rings are like super like penciled in, you know what I mean? Like those crazy girls. I know all you girls are watching my channel. Those crazy girls that pencil their eyebrows back in after they shave them off. That's what a Super Dwarf does. It's like penciling a Retic pattern back on. So he's got a Motley that's like that, and I can't imagine like a Rainbow with that.
I think the Rainbow would be cool. That's probably the one gene I wouldn't mind having, but I think I'm all topped out on projects at the moment.
Well, like somebody out there, go invest in Rainbow Super Dwarfs, and you've got your first customer right here. You heard it first right here. All right, you ready for the lightning round?
Let's do it.
Okay, this is the part where everyone gets to know Eric because he's got to shoot from the hip. He doesn't know what I'm going to ask him, so shoot pretty fun. Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee. That's given.
I thought you were gonna say Red Bull.
And that you chase one with the other. About 4 times a day.
Last book you read?
What was it? American Terrorist or something like that. It was about pretty much American operative Muslim goes undercover, becomes a terrorist, and ends up infiltrating one of the Islamic cells in the States, and he pretty much ends up taking the whole cell down, which is based on a true story. It was a pretty crazy book because just his story of how he infiltrated and everything was pretty amazing.
Now you're an Afghanistan vet, right? Iraqi vet, sorry. So do you think that your time over there, and that was with the Army?
Yeah, with the Army twice.
You did 2 tours?
Yeah.
Cool. So do you think that I mean, it's got it. What came first, the chicken or the egg otherwise? In other words, you're interested in that stuff and then the military thing, or the military kind of opened your eyes to some of that stuff?
I think it's a little bit of both. I ended up getting my master's in terrorism and counterterrorism studies, just focusing on just radicalization and recruitment, because it's just really interesting where obviously depending on what side of the politics you fall on, people say this causes it, that causes it, whereas a lot of it is kind of universal. So it doesn't matter if you're first world country, third world country, a lot of it applies the same to the person regardless of their opportunities. So it's kind of crazy. Most people wouldn't think that. So
Interesting. What's your biggest pet peeve?
just courtesy or lack thereof from people. Just everyday society. So yeah.
That's a pretty broad one.
That's a problem. It is.
A big problem too.
So I get angry quite often, yeah.
So what is your dream job?
Well, right now I'm waiting to hear back. Hopefully, if I get it, it'll be overseas in Afghanistan.
That's a dream job?
Yeah, deploying again.
Okay.
I kind of like getting shot at and blowing up. It's fun.
I guess so. We'll have to mess around tomorrow. How about a surprising skill that you have?
I don't know. Every time I'm with my girlfriend, we always meow at each other, and we do it in public, and people look at us like we're crazy. We go up to someone and be like, meow, meow. Like, oh, what? It happens. What are you gonna do?
Best advice for some of these younger audience that might be considering joining military?
The biggest thing I could say, and I always tell people this, is look at it long term. Not the military, but in terms of what your end game is. Most people won't do 20 years, and that's fine. Do something in the military that will progress you on the civilian
Push you forward.
If you want to go in the military, do something that will translate well on the civilian side. Medical, obviously. IT stuff, computer stuff. Nowadays, drones are huge, or at least when I got out in 09, because there's a ton of civilian applications. But knowing that, hey, I want to do 3 years in and get the benefits on the outside is great, but set yourself up for something that will actually be beneficial down the road. Get certified, whether it's mechanics or vocational stuff in the military, and then when you get out, you already have everything set up and you're gonna hit the ground running.
I think that's great advice.
And me, being able to throw a grenade, this or that, not so much on the civilian side. It doesn't really apply much. Okay. So having other stuff that can translate well for jobs and help you down the road is, I think, the biggest thing that people might not think about when they're initially joining.
How about your favorite all-time vehicle?
Tacomas. I'm on my 3rd one. I had a first gen 03, second gen 07 that I spent ridiculous amounts of money on. Let's say I spent 2 deployment salaries worth on that truck. That was pretty much...
How do you even do that? That's like having 5 trucks.
Gutted it completely, caged everything.
Jeez.
And then I used it, and I was like, okay, I'm done with that.
So little known fact, my first vehicle was actually a Toyota Tacoma, except they didn't call it back then, it was just a Toyota pickup.
There you go.
Bought it with lizard money, actually. Oh, here's a good one for you. What's the most unique place you've ever visited?
The place I like the most of all the places I've been to is Prague, Czech Republic. That place is just amazing.
Prague?
Yeah. Prague was really cool, and it was weird because they have all these like medieval like torture museums and you just see them get this eerie feeling because it actually happened in that city you're at. It's kind of crazy. But all the food portions are like on Viking platter sizes that I'm a fat boy at heart, so I like to eat, so it was fantastic.
Well, you eat like that and then go run your 100-mile race.
There you go.
Yeah, you can
burn it off.
You can do that. What is your biggest fear?
Reptile-wise or in general?
This is about Eric Lee, not unnamedexotics.com.
Not yet. I don't know. Running out of time to do the stuff I need to do. And it's not even, I think the older you get, you realize all the stuff you shot for when you're young, profession, career, money, all that falls by the wayside. You just get to realize, especially now, like I get updates when friends I've known died. I'm like, that's horrible. I haven't talked to person A or B for a while, then all of a sudden they're like, hey Eric, so-and-so died. I'm like, wow, that's horrible. So I think late in the last year, I've gotten quite a few of those notices, so it feels like there's a time crunch. Like, okay, I'm running out of time. So it's one of those things where I want to do what I want to do, but it's more with the people I want to do them with, not necessarily like, hey, I want to do things. I want to do experiences with people, because I think that's the biggest thing. Because end of the day, all the stuff you have, it doesn't matter. It's pretty much just the people you're with that make life worth living.
And those experiences that you do, the input that you have on the world is all that's left of you when you're gone.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah, no one's gonna care how much you made, what you drove, where you lived. None of that matters.
All right, if I handed you $100,000 right now, what would you do with it?
Take care of family stuff, help my girl out with her family, because she's amazing. She does everything for her family, and I do as much as I could to just make it easier on her.
That's pretty cool. No furniture, huh?
No, I don't need furniture. Furniture is work. Then I gotta clean it. Then I'd expect people to sit on it, because I'm not gonna sit on it. So then I'd have to bring people over, and then it ruined the whole my mojo here.
So this is a joke, because we're literally sitting on the floor doing this interview right now, because there is not any furniture in this house. When I walked in, I thought, oh, look, he's a minimalist.
I have one floating camping chair that I keep in my kitchen. That's it. So,
but the reptile room is decked out.
Reptile room is decked out, and everything.
They get everything.
Everything else I own, I could fit in one trash bag. That's how I roll.
That's pretty cool. Ready for that dream job at any moment, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to call it quits and just, hey Garrett, I got some animals for you to take care of. I'll be back in a year.
I like it. Oh man, I can have some fun with those. You better go away for like 10 or 12 years.
There you go.
All right, well, so actually that kind of ties into my last question for you. With all this stuff, obviously your collection is very well thought out, and you've had some awesome success with it, and a lot more projects to see through. What is your ultimate goal in reptile keeping?
End game is to have adult breeder SD Retics in no bigger than 4x2s, potentially V70 tubs. I want to make it so that they are more attainable for everyone, but at the same time, I want to shrink them down as much as humanly possible.
That's cool, especially in a world where I think probably even some of the people that watch my channel still don't believe that retics can be as small as some of your adult breeders are.
Yeah, I have a couple that are wild caught that are still in V70s.
So to translate for those of you guys that aren't up on all like the product, lingo or whatever, V70 is what you breed a ball python in.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, anytime,
I really appreciate you bringing me out. We flew all the way out here. We're hitting you guys up from Phoenix, and tomorrow you said you're gonna take me outside, do a little bit of herping.
We're gonna find some local critters out here for you.
That sounds good. So check this out, guys. This is my first one. This is what you do when you're herping.
There you go.
Jump out. Yeah. You jump out of the car, leaving it in the middle of the road, and you find yourself a little rattlesnake. Ah!